What is darkness? When we hear about spiritual light workers speaking about unconditional love and compassion, forgiveness, yet extreme boundaries, and the darkness really exists. When we hear these things, it could be a little daunting at times. How to navigate our life in these terms and separate darkness from light, create boundaries, and uh, go towards that less judgmental, unconditional love. If you really do a deep dive into these things, these questions that I asked myself, with time we get a clear understanding as to what is exactly mean for those terms, and sort of make sense because our intuition, our higher self always give us answers that is satisfactory to our understanding. So, in accordance with the a tree of life, extreme boundaries are very clear. The seeds that is being planted or already there, it takes enormous time for it to grow. Some, even in the house plants, some seeds take longer to grow and mature, come to surface. Others happened uh, quite quickly, but nevertheless, it takes time for the growth underground. Then on the surface, this is where the substantial amount of growth happen, where we can witness. But the complicated mind, body, and spirit for us human souls in this 3D present planet, we're here to perfect ourselves. These are here our time for our maturity as a human being, and work these things and resolve these karmic baggage, and sort of go towards these unconditional love. It's never going to be forgotten. The wisdom is always going to be with us because we are that a seed that was already planted, but we're working progress towards the unconditional love. And this is how we mature out of these 3D circumstances. So when we think about the darkness, and light is like a sleepwalking. If you know anyone to do sleepwalking, you know that we outsiders, the awakened families, they are supposed to guide them to safety, because sleepwalking is dangerous circumstances. Is not the way to navigate life, by sleepwalking. So then you have to guide them to safety, and hopefully they'll wake up with time. But our unconscious life, disconnected unconscious life, is something similar. They are expression of us, but they are things that needs to resolve within underground surface, because most of these dark things happen it in darkness, meaning it's not open to the masses, because it's extreme darkness. They are done in secret. Nevertheless, it's happening. When you create boundaries, meaning that we hear things like a death penalty, or prison, maybe for a very long time, because things are done in extremely disconnected mindset. These entities, these individuals, they have not awakened to uh, the light. Their light is hard to come by for these entities. So then the most loving and kind thing for the authorities to do is send them their way very quickly. Hopefully they'll take eternity for the reflection, but nevertheless it needs to happen. So then we know that extreme darkness exists, and if it is done to destroy human beings, then there have consequences. Nevertheless, you know that they are operating in unconscious state of mind, meaning they are extremely disconnected. They are never able to resonate with uh, another person's journey or have a level of empathy and compassion. So then they are doing all these horrible things to people, children, animal, even planet Earth by manipulating weather as such. These people are toxic. It is a toxic existence, and they have to have that time for reflection, and the authorities are going to create these time and space for such an individual. This is one factor, but in our households, within our homes, they are so much more than basic needs are met, but we have to work through so much extreme judgment, extreme criticism, extreme gaslighting, domestic issues. Uh, there has to be some sort of dialogue and resolve these issues within these households. Sometimes we hear all the time people are causing enormous level of suffering for people, like murder family members and attacking them and stuff that we hear on daily basis. These things are done because we have a unmature state of mind. Our emotional life is not in check. We are unable to control our emotional impulses, like our anger, our resentment, our extreme stress and dissatisfaction with life, because we are not mature as a mind, body, and spirit being. Instead, we give in to our impulses and our um, emotional life, which is something that is really important to master in our existence in this life that we have. It is the purpose to mature our emotional triggers and overcome and sort of have a balanced existence, balanced thinking, balanced acting, balanced behaviors. These are a discipline of your mind, body, and spirit. The discipline has to be there. It is sort of like a balanced pH, balanced budget, balanced diet. These are all about, we're speaking about balance on the surface, but internally we are facing so much internal trauma because we don't have this balance thinking, emotional maturity, or balance, because we haven't mastered the factors that we need to have healthy mind, body, and spirit, which means managing our emotional a stressful life, and have a perspective instead of constantly in a reactive mode. We have a perspective, we're able to have a dialogue. This is how we master our human class in this planet. For example, when you know we have all that, we understand the toxic trauma body, we understand the level of extreme toxicity and low vibrational parts, but the moment we realize that external world is really less than what you are. Because if you are an individual who master your emotional, spiritual, physical life, then if you see the chaos in the external world, meaning that they are the low vibrational parts of our existence, and we can have a clear boundaries and clear disconnection to these kind of situations. If you have a toxic household with all these things that I speak about, you know how to separate yourself, because there is no clearly there is no healthy dialogue. There's no rational behind these behaviors, and then you know if you're maturing yourself, you're mastering yourself as a mind, body, spirit a being. You can no longer survive in this level of toxicity. Then you separate yourself from that. And when we, for personally, everything is a journey for us. I have gone through something similar in my life with people sort of married into my family. Extreme level of toxicity, gaslighting, extreme criticism, extreme judgment. But these were really opportunity for me, not at the time, but when you sit back and when you realize that the extreme judgment is happening around you, then you have to shift that focus into you, extreme judgment, and make a judgment call about yourself, and figure out your self-worth, and your self-worth, and you're not somebody's perception of you. You have something, there's a core, there is a level of discipline and a mastery of your emotional, spiritual life, even physical life. But when we think in this manner, you're learning that criticism happen in external world because perhaps you're very critical of yourself. When the judgment happens in external world, you need to make a judgment call about your own existence. When the gaslighting happens, it is opportunity for you to see and learn to take what is necessary and leave rest behind. And so these things are happening for us because we're really here in a human masterclass, learning to master ourselves. And the economic, same thing. If you're not if you're in a toxic environment, it doesn't matter how much resources you have. It is utterly chaotic place for the conscious person to exist. And this is how we separate ourselves from darkness to light, because you know that the maturity happens. You know you grow from where you were, and so then you can be in a place where you can draw these extreme boundaries. And nevertheless, we all have to work on our emotional discipline. Thoughts are things really, and they manifest in a physical mind body. So then we have to realize how to prioritize, and this is also a 3D masterclass. We have to elevate from all of these things, and this is how you graduate from this earth master class or school. Because in the end of the day, we know lots of people are struggling with the emotional life. They cannot manage the stress or disconnection or frustration. Sometimes they manifest in your physical body, because we're not supposed to be sick all the time and go through life suffering and pain. But if you sooner you tap into these important points, you sort of have an easier time to navigate. The same thing when we're nurturing our garden, we cut off things that is not necessary, sort of growing pointless. So you trim some things, and the roots are the most important thing that you nurture. So then we need to, when things become so overwhelming and complicated, we need to come back to the basics. This is how you master the overwhelming external factors. You come back to your roots, your basics, and this is where you have the most strength, because you eliminate all the baggage. On the surface and the external world, we know we're cleaning up or tidying up. We're constantly shifting and getting rid of things that we don't no longer need it or have a use for. Same thing, we have to get in check with our mind, body, and spirit, see where we are at, and eliminate things that we no longer need it. So going through life shopping and watching mindless programming, entertainment is not all that bad, but it's you have to know exactly what it is, and what you're trying to forget. And because someday you're going to get hit with this emotional turmoil, and you're just have a really hard time to comprehend what is happening, because your time is shrinking and become limited, and you get overwhelmed very quickly. So we have these glimpse into these realities of our life, and we make sure we shift and clean up all these emotional baggage that we need to eliminate from our mind, body, and spirit, so that we can focus what is the most important thing. Because time is limited. There's expiry date even in this life. In another life, it doesn't matter. We all come with the expiry date, and we have things to do in this earth school. The business model really is a stepping stone for you to create comfort for yourself. It is not something that you can non-stop focusing on the greed and the material life, because eventually there is Alzheimer's waiting for you, or the unfortunate factor of life, disease and disconnection, illnesses. They are real thing, and even if you go out and get yourself highly programmed, there's a slim chance that you might even forget your name. So then it's really important for us to prioritize and do what is really necessary for our mind, body, and spirit, because we are here to get these learning experiences behind our mind, body, and spirit self, and eliminate some of these ancestral trauma and karmic baggage. The other thing is the environmental factor is really important. We see so many children, they end up with the boxes and boxes of these mind-numbing pile of plastic or materials that going to end up in a landfill someday. But it is really important to shift the focus. Even I see some children, they are always gravitate towards the human connection, something that is lively. When they have 1,000 toys in a box in the corner, they have absolutely no interest playing with any of these. They are constantly gravitate towards the human connections. So these are things that we can keep in mind instead of screaming about global or environmental issues. What are you contributing to these factors? It is really important for us to start our life with understanding and have a level of respect for our environment. And a minimalistic life is not appealing for the most people, but sometimes maybe we might not even have a choice. because it is really important to have a sort of have a clue about what's going out into the environment from your household. Your personal baggage is our personal responsibility to have these kind of dialogue from the beginning, so that we're not running around filling our two-car garage. There's no space for the car, but so much stuff and a pile of stuff, and there's no room, and nobody ever go through these things. Yet we have this need to accumulate things, sort of mindless accumulation of things. It's another thing that we can pay attention to. Clearly, there is a level of disconnection. We have to figure out how to overcome these things and make a real connections to real things that we are meant to do in our existence, because time is running out, and it's very precious, and so then we have to prioritize what is really important.